All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to St. Louis Teens, a podcast dedicated to discussing topics and issues pertinent to teens and youth and learning directly from the experts. My name is Sri Jalati, and we are thrilled today to have with us Mark Cuban, an all-time favorite of teen entrepreneurs. Mark, you're a champion for all entrepreneurs, and you have a heart for teens and teen entrepreneurs. We thank you so much for your phenomenal support of the next generation of business leaders.
No, thanks for having me on, Sri. I really appreciate it. I'm excited. And let me apologize to everybody for the quarantine look. I was running late today. It's what happens when you have kids in quarantine. And so if I'm a little bit sloppy and quarantined out, I apologize, but I'm so excited to answer your questions.
I want to start off by asking, Mark, what inspires you to work with teen entrepreneurs? And through your experience helping youth with their ventures, what has been your most memorable interaction or moment with them?
Well, what inspires me is I see myself in all these kids. You know, I was a kid entrepreneur starting businesses, and I really didn't have any resources. You know, I had to figure out everything on my own. My dad was, had a regular job doing upholstery on cars. My mom did odd jobs, and so neither one of them had gone to college. So I basically had to figure everything out on my own. So the idea of helping other young entrepreneurs, become successful and start businesses is super exciting to me. And in terms of great experiences, they're all great experiences. I mean, anytime somebody young takes that first step, it's terrifying. It's exciting. It's special. And so I just try to be very, very supportive, because, one thing that I think is important to note is that, your first company is not going to be your last company. And your first company is probably not even going to be your biggest company. And so you're going to, the idea is to learn from that first try and that second try and that third try, however many times you go out there and do it, so that when you get to the thing that you can really be incredible at, you're ready to go and you're not intimidated. And I think that's what worked for me. Once I was a kid, from selling door to door, selling garbage bags, selling baseball cards, whatever, that allowed me to develop confidence so that as I got a little older, I was ready to do it.
Well, Mark, we're so thankful that you continue to help teen entrepreneurs. And I am fortunate that my school has an entrepreneurship program called Spark Incubator, and I owe my growth to Spark. How do you think that more schools or all schools can incorporate entrepreneurship as a K through 12 learning skill? And do you think entrepreneurship is something that can be taught?
Couple things there. I wish more schools could afford to offer not just entrepreneurship programs, but financial literacy programs and business programs. It's just very difficult for them financially and finding teachers and finding programs. Fortunately, there's online resources. And so as much as I try to be supportive, where you've got great podcasts like this, Sri, and people, are taking the initiative, that's why I try to do as many interviews as I can. And I also wrote a book with Sean Patel on kid entrepreneurs. And so, there's so many ways to learn today. My 10-year-old, about to turn 11-year-old son always reminds me that he learns a lot on YouTube, because I'm a book guy, right? I want to read. And he would show me all these things on YouTube. And I guess the point is, if you've got a great program in school, definitely take advantage of it. Whether it's for entrepreneurs, starting businesses, whether it's just regular business or financial literacy, all these things are tools that can help you get along. And if you don't have those programs in school, it's good to, and even if you get some help, to find programs and classes and tutorials on YouTube and online, because then you can do them at your own pace. And then, of course, there's, as you get a little bit older, there's programs like Junior Achievement, which was very important to me, that I learned a lot from growing up in Pittsburgh selling cookie trays. I was the king of cookie trays when I was 16. Nobody could make or sell a cookie tray better than I did. And I had the whole wrap down. So, there's not everybody's got the same access to resources, but everybody has the opportunity to do everything they can to learn to become an entrepreneur. And whether or not entrepreneurs are born, I think, we're all different and we're all unique in our own way. And the key to being an entrepreneur is even, some kids truly do, like for me, I don't know what got me excited about starting businesses. I had no idea, but it seemed like the day I turned 7 or 8 years old, all I could think about was starting a business. But, we all have something unique about us. And what worked for me was finding out what I was good at. And once I found something I was good at, which was sales and then technology, I always wanted to get better. And what I tell my kids is nobody quits anything they're really, really good at. And so once you find something about yourself that's unique, and can apply to business, then just keep on trying to get better at it.
And you talk about YouTube as a learning tool now. I think with the rise of the internet, information has been transferring so quickly and teens and youth have been able to utilize it so well. Mark, you said that as an owner of an NBA team, you're not selling the games per se, but rather the experience. The
Right.
people may not remember the score or even who won, but they will remember who they shared that experience with. With the pandemic and virtual learning, the point can be made that a majority of in-person schools and colleges exist to give students an experience with peers, friends, and teachers. And this pandemic has cost us these experiences. With advancements in technology, is there potential for a new innovation to bring those same experiences virtually?
Of course. There's always the opportunity for disruption and change. When I see when I see something that's been done the same way, which with schools is over 100 years that we've had schoolrooms, probably 150 years we've been sending kids to school, putting them in a schoolroom in front of a teacher, having them go from grade to grade to grade, and then hopefully go to college. That tells me there might be a better way that, hopefully you, Sri, or somebody watching this podcast can come up with a better way. It's not always going to come from the adults. Some of the best ideas are going to come from kids. And, for you and the people watching to suggest things to your parents, suggest things to the school, this is a great time to do it because you're the ones that are going to have to learn. And, again, I had the experience with my son, Jake, and my daughters, Alexis and Alyssa, when he started asking me questions about sales and royalty and licensing. And I would say, well, what's a royalty? And he explained it to me. And I said, well, what's licensing? And he explained it to me. What's gross margin? I'm like, how do you know these things? Because, well, I go on YouTube and I find people who explain them to me. People are learning differently today than when I was a kid. And that's a good thing. And so if anybody's watching and has new ideas, it's not about what I think. It's about what you think. And why can't a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old kid change the game and change how education is done? Absolutely you can. The only thing, like I tell my kids, you just have to ask yourself, why not me? Why can't I be the one to change the game? Because you probably can be.
And that mindset is so valuable to encourage and let everyone know that no matter how old you are, you can have that next idea that could, disrupt the future and possibly change the future.
Especially now because we're going through this reset with the virus and the quarantines and the stay-at-homes where people are having to change how they learn, how they consume products, how they go, what they do for activities, things, we're exercising differently, we're learning differently. Why not come with a cool idea? Sri, when we look back, when you hit 30, you're going to look back and say, you know what? There were some really cool businesses that were created out of the pandemic of 2020. And hopefully it'll be one of your businesses.
With Nano Lending, my social initiative helping the homeless start their own businesses, I gave Vanita, an unhoused woman, a Chromebook and a grill for under $300. She was hardworking and motivated and made over $20,000 in revenue in under 90 days through her catering venture. She is now housed and is thriving. What is the best way, Mark, that we as a community and the government can support individuals like Vanita rise out of homelessness and poverty through entrepreneurship?
First, good for you and great for Benita, right? And the best way to do it is copy your successes. What works once can work twice, and you see how much you can scale it. With any business, the hardest part is scaling and getting bigger. What was Benita's business?
She had a catering business.
That's awesome. Well, Kate, how's she doing now? I mean, given everything that's going on.
Yeah, so her sales have dropped a little bit, but she's actually been picking up recently again because due to the removal of some of the restrictions, and she's been actually catering now to weddings and much larger events as well.
That's good for her. And look, there's a lesson there, right? That even when things aren't going well, you can find a way to succeed. And as obviously Benita did. And what worked for Benita, finding people who are homeless but have an entrepreneurial bent, and perspective, it's a great program. Get out there, do more of it, Sri. Why just one? Why not 100?
I actually have done, given equipment and funding for over 100 unhoused members to start their own businesses in the St. Louis area. So it's
Good for
been
you.
overall a great success, and it's wonderful to see so many people who are even in distressed situations become entrepreneurs.
What, Sri, I mean, I know you've had some things published about you, but you should write a book about that.
All right, thank you.
Seriously, from your podcast, you should take, when I wrote my little book, How to Win at the Sport of Business, I took my blog posts and then compiled them into a book that was only 64 pages long, but people, learned from it. And you should do the same thing. Take your podcast and compile the Q&A and your experiences helping Benita and the others, and let other people benefit from your experiences. And that way you have that network effect and scale it. So I'm putting it on you, Sri. You're doing amazing things. We need more of them.
All right, I will be sure to look forward to it in the future. Mark, a quote of yours that has often challenged popular belief is, one of the great lies of life is follow your passions. And from personal belief, I mean, from personal experience, I may not be in the Billionaire Boys Club, but I am definitely in the I am told to follow my passion a billion times club. Uh,
Right.
Mark, can you elaborate on that quote and how young people can differentiate between passion and effort, especially when certain fields may not have easily measurable metrics, such as a vertical or speed of a fastball?
Great question. Look, particularly when you're a kid, you have things that you really get excited about because there's so many new things as you get older. Music, sports, just video games. You know, you might be passionate about Fortnite or Call of Duty, and you see, people who are passionate about basketball or football or whatever it may be, but you realize very quickly that that may not be something that you're going to be the best in the world at, right? And it's not to say that if you don't try it's not possible, but the odds are really against you. But as you try different things as a kid, learning different things, getting excited by different things, you'll see that there's other things that interest you, and you'll find that the places you spend your time are the places you tend to be good at something. And when you're good at something, those are the types of things that you have the best opportunity to turn into a business because you're good at it. If you're good at sales, if you're good at helping people start businesses, if you're good, whatever it is, so I've always felt that when I talk to people and I ask them, okay, where do you really spend their time? Maybe they spend a lot of time playing some Fortnite, but it's the other places that they really spend their time at, whatever it may be. That's where you can see that they really have an interest and there's a spark inside of them. It's just not something people typically consider to be a passion.
And Mark, you spent a lot of your time, especially when you were a youth, reading about technology. You talk about reading the manuals and learning more about technology. And now you're constantly utilizing and adopting cutting edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and quantum computing. How would you like to see teens and teen entrepreneurs leverage these technologies as pathways to fight the pandemic and build a better future?
So basically, here's what I always told myself. I didn't learn a lot of technology when I was a little kid because there wasn't a lot of technology back then. But once I started getting into it, right after college, it became very clear to me that there were two types of people in the technology world: the people who created the technology and everybody else. And I was tied with everybody else in terms of my knowledge about any new technology. And if I put in the time, I could learn anything. And the same applies to all new technologies today. If as new things come out with new technology, there's neural networks, there's generative adversarial networks, there's CNNs, there's all these different things, right, that are coming out. There's computer vision, there's robotics, there's quantum. And each and every day, something new comes out about these technologies. Well, again, there's the researchers or the developers that created it. And then there's me and you and everybody else tied for second place. If you really want to know and learn, it's just a question of, are you willing to put in the time? And I found success because I was willing to put in the time. I was willing to read the software manuals, and I still do that today. I'm willing to take tutorials. So you see me take Coursera classes or go on YouTube and take introduction to this, introduction to that, because that's how I learn. And the reality is, most people won't put in that time. 99.99% of the people won't put in the effort in order to try to add it to their mix, if you will, to add it to their knowledge base. And that's one of my lines that my kids are sick of. The the one thing in life that you can control is your efforts. And it's true, you know, and I want to learn. I want to keep up. You know, there's a lot of 16-year-old kids out there that think they can kick my butt in business because they're young and, you know, think they understand technology better than I do. Uh-uh, uh-uh, no chance. I'll explain that TikTok algorithm better than you'll understand TikTok, because I'm going to put in the time to learn. And that's what my recommendation is. If you really want to be successful, if you want to get ahead, if you want to do something you love, then put in the time to learn. How you learn can be up to you, but you have to learn because otherwise, I'm going to kick your butt. You know, if you compete with me, I'm going to win because I will put in the time.
And Mark, you talked about your book earlier, How to Win at the Sport of Business. It's one of my favorites. And as you say in it, it got me fired up. A large theme in the book is that if you did it, others can as well. What advice would you give to someone, and how can someone become the next Mark Cuban?
Well, I'm not done being Mark Cuban yet, but you know, I went to public schools. I mean, I was a decent student, not the best student. Um, I had my ups and downs as a kid, like every kid has. I didn't, you know, my parents couldn't afford computers or anything like that. I mean, I didn't have any special advantages. And so the point of the book and why I say if I can do it, you can do it too is not everybody's going to have advantages. You know, I didn't, you know, like I said, I was just another public school kid, but I always made sure that, you know, I tried new things and I always made sure to be trying to learn. That's one thing I'll give myself credit for. I love to read and I love to learn. And I didn't need to be forced or pushed to do that. And so if you want to be the next me, then you're going to have to outlearn me and outwork me and outsell me and out technology me. And it won't be easy, right? Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. But once you start doing it, and once you taste a little bit of success, and once you get that feeling that, oh my goodness, I know things other people don't, and I'm able to do these things that other people don't, and I'm just a kid, oh, it feels so good. Because I can't tell you, once I got going, how many times I walked into the room, and I was the youngest in the room by far. And, you know, people would say, well, they won't take you seriously. You're a kid. And I'm like, no, it's the exact opposite. They, you know, if you have enough courage to go in that room and talk, they'll take you really seriously. You know, people smart is smart. You know, I've got my daughters are smart, my son's smart. You know, they understand that, you know, education comes from just putting in the work.
Mark, you always speak up for what you believe in. You stand up to politicians and personalities. We look up to you as a great visionary leader, and we are hungry for strong and compassionate leadership. We are eager to know your vision in terms of presidency and leadership for our country.
You know, one of my favorite lines is you don't have to be the leader to be a leader. And each and every one of, just like you're being a leader with this podcast, just like you're being a leader by helping the homeless street, all of us can be leaders by working with the people around us, by supporting the people around us, by helping our parents. You know, I just try to contribute where I can and do the right thing. And honestly, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've tried to learn from them. I can't even begin to list the number of mistakes I've made in my life, the number of mistakes I made as a kid. But I tried to learn. You know, sometimes when you're young, you know, they don't always resonate. And for me, when I mean young, I mean 30, 40, 50 years old. But, you know, I might be a little slower learning these lessons, but if you just keep on learning, that's great. And in terms of what I do next, I don't know yet. It's not like I have a dream to be president, but I just felt that there was a hole in leadership. And so, you know, if I decide to run, maybe if my family changes their mind about it, maybe because they voted it down. But regardless, you know, there's different ways to lead. And I'll always try to be out front, admit my mistakes, and go from there.
And Mark, we are so thankful that you're always being a leader, no matter where it is. You're always trying to help others, help teen entrepreneurs. Mark, thank you so much for investing your time and resources in our teens and the value that they bring to our country and our future. And thank
No,
you so
thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you. Thank you for doing this and let me be part of it, Sri. You guys are amazing. Do more of it, please, please, please. I want to keep on reading more. I want to see more. And hopefully you'll have me on again to give me an update of all the programs you're working on and all the kids that are so successful.
Thank you so much, Mark, for your time today and answering all of our questions.
And wait, Sri, I'm going to give you one request, okay?
Yes.
And one challenge.
All right.
right? There are entrepreneurial groups around the country, right, trying to support kids. Next time we talk, if you could have gotten connected to other young entrepreneurial groups, because I think together, working together with other groups, you would be amazing and you could scale and have even a greater impact because you guys are incredible.
Thank you so much.